Typically, when we color our artwork, we're working with solid colors. Here, we're going to talk about how to create gradients and why you might want to use them in your workflow. Well, I'm going to go ahead and create a very simple shape like a rectangle. And what we can do with this rectangle is, of course, give it a flat color like green. But as you can see with this solid color, it's very difficult to tell where there's some light and where there's some shadow. So if we had a light bulb right here, it would be difficult to see that effect by using a flat color. A gradient gives us the ability to make this part lighter and gradually go darker until we get to our shadow region. So let's go ahead and quickly put a gradient in here. I'm going to go over here, and you can see this is the gradient tool. I'll click on it one time, and I'll go ahead and tear this guy off. The fastest way to put a gradient into an object is to simply click right here. Now, of course, it's going to give you this same exact gradient that you're looking at, but at least it's a starting point, and you can build your own gradient from here. We can also take a look at the different types of gradients we have available to us. So as you can see where it says type, we have linear, and that simply means left to right, top to bottom, or horizontally. You'll notice that it's bright here, and in a linear fashion, it gradually goes darker. Likewise, we can go to a radial gradient, which gives us a light or dark from the center out, and vice versa. This is really good to use for things like a basketball, a sun, or metallic objects. Likewise, the gradient that's linear can also be used for metal, and I'll show you how to customize it to make it look a little bit more like metal. We also have the ability to go to fade to black and super soft vignettes. And we also have this great one here that has kind of like a rainbow color going on, but the same color repeating. And we have a purple radial. So you have some presets in here to start with. Now what I like to do, let me go ahead and put this back on a solid color. What I like to do is I like to start with a plain gradient and then build them. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit more about how to work with all the tools that we have available to us. Now, to build a basic gradient, you have to know about these guys right here. These little guys are called stops or sliders. And what you can do to change the color of one of the stops or sliders is simply double click on it. It opens up a little mini swatch area, and you can click and change the color. And notice that it's now red here. I'll go ahead and double click on this one and change this one as well. So this one is yellow. Now what if you want to add more of these little stops? Click on the bottom of the line, and you can add as many as you like. Of course, you can't go too far, but you can double click and continue to customize. Another cool thing you can do is you can click and move these things around, hence sliders. So you can increase or decrease the amount of gradient contrast that we have in between two colors by moving them really close like so. If you don't want one of these guys anymore, simply click on it and drag it off the bar. Now up here we have something that allows us to change the way the gradient works in between two colors. So as you can see, I'm pulling less red from the gradient, and I'm pulling more into the gradient in between these two sliders. I could do that over here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to create a brand new document just to show you a quick example of how you might want to create a metallic color. All right. The reason I created a brand new document is to quickly refresh everything and get back to this color. Now one thing about metal is that the metals typically go from white to dark or light gray to dark gray in a very sharp way. So your nice gradual gradient is great for things that have a very linear feel. But for metal, you might want to click right here, for example, and make this one a pretty dark color. And then right next to it, make this one pretty bright. And right next to this, once again, make that black. And you can just really get a more realistic metallic feel by having these very sharp contrasts. Now the best way to use gradients is to look at things in real life. Look at how metal reacts to light. Look at how wood reacts, or leather, and you'll be able to see the different ways that light catches on things, and it will help you to build gradients that look more realistic.